Hello and welcome to The Hero Spouse. I'm Kendra Ruth, here to answer one of your questions about marriage and midlife crisis. Today we have an anonymous female left behind and forward-moving spouse with a bomb drop of June 30th, 2024 and a date of marriage of 2017. She has an at-home MLCer who is a high-energy replayer. And the questions really aren't so much based on the situation, but they're basic questions that everybody asks all the time. So there's probably a few I answer this all the time. This is a great one. What is the start of the timeline? Bomb drop. Or when they start buying things. And then she says, RZR, is that razor? I wasn't sure what a new truck and new friends. So the first flat out answer I'll expand on, explain it, is bomb drop. The start of the timeline. Now that does not mean that is when a midlife crisis starts. But there are the roots. And I call bomb drop the start. And this isn't how everyone does it, okay? So it's not that there's a right or wrong. This is how I approach it. Bomb drop is the start because that's when things change. That's when suddenly the week before, everything was fine. And it's not always that way in every case. Sometimes you notice something's going on, you tease it out, and you know things have been getting bad. Maybe you've had a rocky marriage. But bomb drop starts the timeline because now that they have had a conversation with you, and bomb drop might have happened because they started this conversation or because you discovered the affair or you asked, hey, what's wrong with you? And that initiated the conversation. And if that's the case, do not blame yourself for, oh, I wish I hadn't started that conversation. Obviously, it was there. It was there under the rug anyway, right? So don't blame yourself. It was going to happen. And do you want to really push it out another week or 3 months or 6 months so that you're doing it that many years later as well? Get it done, okay? So bomb drop starts it because now they can change their attitude toward you. They can show what they've might have been feeling underneath here and keeping a secret while they've been playing happy family with you. And a lot of it was genuine, okay? Because there's not always an affair. The affair might come later, but they can talk about it. They can talk about it with you. They can start to vilify you and monster you and tell you the complaints they have. Really big. I mean, maybe they criticized you before, but now it's all your fault. And I wanted a divorce 3 years ago. And so they rewrite history. And here's what happened. And here's these things. And it's not that they're lying either. To me, when somebody lies, that is an intentional untruth. That's, hey, why are you late coming home? And what's that lipstick on your collar? I'm late because I had to work late. And there was this maid. And she noticed that there was this thing on my collar. And she said I should take my shirt off. And some absurd story, right? That's a lie. And they darn well know it. But telling you that they were feeling badly 2 years ago and then giving an explanation for it might not be an untruth. They might not have been feeling bad 2 years ago, but their memory is now skewed and they feel so bad now. They have to think they can only apply the negative feelings to everything else. They can't figure out why something was positive. So they rewrite the history to fit the present, I don't want to say narrative, but the present emotions. They have to have an excuse. And so some of it is very real to them. Now, that doesn't mean you shouldn't send a truth dart that says, you know what? That's hogwash. We chose to get married, and we were both in on it. We both said our vows. We both meant them. Chuck said, he said one day, he used out to refer to the word divorce. I wanted out in 1997, he yelled at me in the first few weeks. It's like, okay, well, we got married in 1998. It did make sense. And it was just that he wasn't good with memory and dates. It's actually still not great with memory and dates. So I knew it, but it was funny, and I called him on it. Really? That's odd. So, but it was still rewriting history because he was trying to tell me that he'd wanted out way back so many years before. It's a rewrite. You know how I know? Because he chose to stay here this year and every day. That's just part of it. So bomb drop changes it. Now they become public. And by public, I don't mean they tell everybody else. They could. I mean with you. Now they don't have to continue to send you the happy love letter that, on your anniversary and the Facebook page that says what the most wonderful wife they have. If they do that, they're doing it because everyone's watching and they're playing happy family. But there was, and I talked about this in 2 videos, I think ago, but it came from one of the examples I think that I might have been on with divorce busting is a lady and her husband went on their 25th anniversary cruise. And I think he gave her a card and it was lovely. And talked about what a wonderful wife and how they're soulmates or whatever, that sort of thing. And a week later after they got back, bomb drop. And I'm not sure if that one, because there's a few that are similar to that one, if that one he had been having an affair or not. I think he might have that whole time. But there's a similar one that has that same thing and it doesn't. 1 week. I mean, sometimes it is really that. We just went on a vacation. They sent gave me the most beautiful card, roses, flowers for my birthday, whatever event was. And it felt genuine. It felt like it always had. Come back. And that doesn't mean something happened between now and then if it's 1 week. Okay? Because Dad died 9 months before. The cruise, probably. I'm just as an example. And that's the trigger. So the trigger, Dad dying, is not the start of the timeline. It takes them a while to go, what is my life? And they may not realize it's about their dad's death and they start questioning life. And, that my dad died so young and I need to make changes. I don't want to live like he did. Or whatever it is that ruminates in their minds and ruminates over and over again. It takes months. Typical is anywhere from a few weeks. I have seen them be a few weeks. The literature has always said 6 months, but I've seen them go in a few weeks. But to 36 months, to 3 years. So look back. If you are at bomb drop, you look back 3 years and see what happened. We're a little bit out of it, but not fully. The pandemic was a trigger or a possible trigger for the entire all of Earth. So some of us can say, yeah, it was the pandemic. Different pieces within it. Okay. But you have to get to the point of bomb drop. And that's when they be public and they change because maybe they move out right away. That changes something. Or they plan to move out and they start talking about it and they bring up the D word. Maybe. Sometimes they don't, but they don't have to say the D word. They might say it in 3 months or 6 months for it to be the bomb drop. That starts your timeline. Okay. It's not about buying new stuff. And some of them don't buy new stuff till bomb drop or after. They feel free to. Some of them do before and you have a clue. But in general, you don't, a lot of us don't have a clue. Or we have, the clue comes when we're looking back. And the buying new stuff is them trying to put off, to sway these feelings of, I don't know who I am and what I'm doing, and sway the feelings of unease and unhappiness, dis-ease. They're trying to prevent bomb drop. But they don't get there and they get to bomb drop. And now they can live the fantasy. Because the alienator, they can go see her now. If she's there. Okay. So I hope that answered your question. And I will see everybody in the next question.